Hello, and today we are making a enclosure for 6 tadpoles and other bugs. So let's get started. Okay, first what we will need to do is we will need to add in all of the ground, aka the rocks, which we will use for the bottom of the enclosure. I will be using these little rocks for about a 2 centimeter base, and then put here. So 2 centimeter base, and that should be enough room for like burrowing. For if animals want to burrow in the rocks, then they can do that. Okay, now if we rotate it around, we will put a bit of leverage in that back corner. Okay? This leverage helps to, because, at the bottom of a river, it's not perfect, is it? It's not just flat. So you need to make sure there's a bit of leverage. And there's also another reason why, and I'll show you later. Now we can add in some of the rocks. So we have a couple rocks there, some more, just like normal rocks from a riverbed. So, well, they come from a river, so yeah. Oh. There you go. Those rocks will be just good, just fine for making an enclosure. Also, animals can also hide under rocks, so it's good to put rocks in. Okay, so you can see that I've missed the spotlight right here, because you'll see later that we'll need room for it. Also, if you can see it, this one right here, there's a little hole under it. Yeah, just making it a bit easier for animals to burrow under it. Okay, now I'll show you why we needed that space. Because we will put this in there. A kind of small bit of devil's wood. This is a really good bit of wood. Like, devil's wood is really good for habitat making because it comes in many different shapes and sizes, and they have lots of holes and cracks in them. Great places for hiding. So this wood is really good for using. And now we will put it. Oh, also forgot to mention, there is a little bit of moss in there. You might think that it's dead, but the cool thing about moss is that it can dry out and you'd think it's dead, so you throw it away. But actually, you just need to soak it in water for a day and it will come back to life. So that's like what happens in real life. When it gets really hot and it can't survive, and it might think it's dead, but then it can come back to life when it gets cooler and when it rains again. So that is a really cool thing about moss. So we're just putting that right up there. We are doing this because the tadpoles will one day turn into frogs, and they can climb up onto here and we'll chill until we make another place for it. Just need to put it exactly in place so it doesn't fall. Yep, that's good. Okay, now we need to add the water. Well, because tadpoles, I'm pretty sure they can't survive without water. So, yeah. If you are putting water with dirty rocks or other things that you might use, you want to use this. Or maybe if you're using sand, you want to use a cup or container and just place it right in there. Well, it doesn't have to be, it can be anywhere. It's just so then when the water goes in, because usually if you do it, normally, just put water in, it gets really messy Like it gets really like cloudy and you have to wait until it settles. But if you do this and then put the water in there, it'll slowly drip out and not make such big impact, and you'll have to wait much less time to let it settle. So that's cool. Okay, now we've put in the water. You don't want to put the water all the way up to the bit of moss, otherwise it will get way too much water. So, and because of that, because it won't be watered by that, you have to make sure that you water it every day. So make sure that piece of bark is wet, and like all of it has to be wet. And so now we're just going to let it settle, and see you guys soon. Okay, now that is done settling, we will now put, not the animals yet, but we will put the plants in, because it just makes it easier. Okay, so today we will be using some algae and some duckweed. So duckweed, you don't have to have much of it, because it spreads like crazy. So yeah, and then algae is just good for like animals to hide in, because it makes really good spots for hiding. Okay, now we have put the algae in, and if you can see on top, there are a bit of duckweed, like some right there, and there's some in the algae. So you get a view underwater as well. So what's cool about this is you can get a view of top water and underwater. So I'll show you from this angle. There, that's the back of it. Show you the rest of it later. Now it is time for the animals. So we have with us today, here we have our 6 tadpoles. They are banjo frog tadpoles, because when they are frogs, when they croak, they sound like banjos. So that's why they're called banjo frog tadpoles. We have 6 of them, and let's put them in. Okay, we're going to put them in right about there. There you go. Now they'll make themselves at home with about in a day, or maybe a couple hours actually. So yeah, that's cool. Next to our enclosure is a damselfly larvae in the back there. It's not really wanting to show up, but he's there. And one day when he gets bigger, he will become, and I'll get a better picture, he will become a damselfly. There he is. Yeah, so that guy's a damselfly larvae. When he gets bigger, he will become a damselfly. Damselflies are a bit like dragonflies, but they're a lot smaller and have more colours. So that's cool. Now we're going to release him as well. Put him in the same spot. And he goes in. Okay, there we go. Now we have a water boatman. He's swimming in there. And so, yeah, they can swim in water. They can also fly. Not sure why they're called water boatmen. Just they are. So yeah, we'll go release him in. And yeah. Okay, releasing him in. Same spot like always. And there he goes, he's in. Okay, cool. Next, we'll put in a leech. He's over there, just wriggling around. Yeah, those things will also multiply. Not like crazy, but there will be more of them. So yeah. Now we're going to release it into here. there we go, it's in. I forgot to mention that there's snails that I'll put in. They will help keep it clean and healthy. So yeah, those also multiply like crazy. So yeah. And now we are done. So we have one of our snails here. We have our little leech at the top of the surface right there. We have our, well, then we have our algae and some of our duckweed, and then we have our tadpoles down there. And then, oh yeah, I almost forgot one thing. Almost forgot because the moss needs watering, so we're just going to give it a little spray. Yep, until all of that piece of wood is wet. Okay. So, yeah, so I'm just giving you one more look. So, yeah, this isn't very hard to make. Well, the animals might be hard to get, but yeah, it's really cool enclosure, and I think you should really try it. So, bye, Mr. Tadpole.